It's really a rare treat when you can unbox and do a first 100 on one of the finest firearms made. Such a rare treat that we don't get to do that today. What we're going to do today is we're going to unbox and put a first 100 through this SAR arms pistol. This is the B6P from SAR Arms, 9mm, full-sized duty gun, and this is how it comes. And in the pistol there is one, count them, one magazine. This is the Econo pistol, right? This is $300 or less at your local gun shop, and from what I understand, everything I've been told, these things are just built and they just run. They are dependable, reliable, and almost undestroyable. That made me interested. So it is a CZ75 clone. You know, you've got it's a hammer fired, of course, 9mm. It is, the grip is shaped very much like the CZ. Got the beaver tail, even though it's a polymer frame. You've got your safety, your slide stop, your mag release, all the controls, very CZ-like, as is the hammer. You've got that low inside the frame slide fit. When I get somewhere quieter, I'm at the range right now, when I get somewhere quieter, I will go over the details a little finer. We'll maybe strip this thing down, show the field strip. Right now, since I am at a noisy place, I might as well see if I can help make some more noise. And let's put 100 rounds through this thing. The SAR B6P, 9mm, full length, duty sized gun, polymer frame, CZ75 clone. This will be the first 100. It's going to be a painful first 100 too, because it comes with one magazine, but at least it's a 15 rounder still. All right, let's see how it shoots. 10 yards from the target. Just going to go for a body shot. Trigger is not too bad. Didn't reset that last time. Okay, there's 15 rounds. Go load the magazine up and go some more. Very first 15 rounds feedback is the trigger hurts. It hurts my finger. I'm gonna have to figure out. What I ended up doing was putting more finger into the trigger so that I could get, because it was killing my fingertip just right off the bat. So I ended up having to put more finger into it because this trigger is not very well made. Okay, back at it with the SAR B6P. I can never remember that. I got to look every time I say it. SAR B6P. I've got it loaded up with 15 plus 1. That equals 16. Again. The gun, it shoots nice. It also looks like it's pretty accurate. I'm at 10 yards from that target. Man, ow, it hurts my finger. This trigger, I'll show a close-up from when I get this thing back to the workbench. Show you close-ups of this trigger, but ow, Hurts. I'm just going to go double action because this is a double action, single action. But I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can stand having to put a lot of tension on that trigger. Obnoxious signage all over the outside of the gun. I'll show you that when I'm back at the workbench. All right, let's go some more. I'm gonna go, let's go up top, pick a clean spot on the target, take some headshots. Try and keep my finger from hurting too bad. The sight picture is actually nice. There are 3 dots. They're tight, but it's sort of that aim small, miss small sight picture. The 3 dots really come together real tightly. You know, and at 10 yards here, it's putting them where I'm pointing it. So it's point of aim, point of impact is definitely the sight setup, and you know, it's very comfortable. Of course, the ergonomics are really nice. The polymer feels, you know, whatever kind of polymer it is, almost like a nylon based, but it feels very comfortable, feels good. There's a nice undercut under the trigger guard. There's a lot of nice things about it, but man, this trigger is a little tough on the finger. Okay, I freshened up my target a little bit, put a big orange dot on the head, and pasted the holes that were around it. Let's see if I can keep 15 rounds in the orange. Nope, not even one. Figures, as soon as I've actually got something to aim at, I can't aim. Trigger didn't reset. Had to push it forward. This is one of those guns that sort of better the faster you shoot it. If you shoot too slow with this gun, just, you know, I don't know. You know, it's like staring at your golf ball too long on the tee or something. It messes you up. Man, I never thought it would come to this. The Hickok 45 trigger finger Band-Aid. Never thought I'd see the day. But this SAR been putting a hurting on my finger. So, let's see if that helps. Hard to shoot good when you're thinking ow every time. that did help. Didn't hurt near as bad with the Band-Aid on my finger, so it allowed me to at least focus more on where my sights are instead of how bad it hurt to pull the trigger. All right, so let's finish up the first 100 plus, almost 150. Then I'll give you my initial thoughts on this SAR arms pistol. My initial thoughts are that it's a pretty true clone. They did a nice job with it. The ergonomics are really nice. It's an all polymer frame, so it's all molded. There are no adjustments available, no backstrap adjustments or anything of that nature. I'm sure the folks at Talon may eventually make a grip for it, but it's probably not going to get a lot of aftermarket support. It's an inexpensive gun. It's a $300 gun. That's where you need to compare it with other things in that price range. So let me get this thing back to the workbench and take a proper close-up look at it, give you some close-up looks, look at the specifications and share those with you. But after about 150 rounds today, it's fun to shoot and it's darn accurate. I mean, 10 yards offhand, sometimes shooting relatively fast, produced good results. So I'm happy with that. I think the accuracy is nice. The sight picture is really nice. It's comfortable. The ergonomics are great. The only thing I really had a problem with today was the trigger. I had to put the Band-Aid on my finger. So the trigger is a bit rough. Okay, so to review a little bit, the SAR B6P, Turkish made, imported into the US by EAA, which stands for European American Arms, based in Florida, and they import a number of foreign-made guns, a lot of Turkish products primarily. So for quite a while, EAA has been doing a good job of bringing quality products in for people on a budget. Not everybody can spend $1,000, not everybody can spend even half of that on a handgun, but everybody should certainly have access to self-defense and self-protection, and there should be good products available to meet those lower budgets. Well, I think this is one of those. This is, again, the SAR B6P. It's a CZ75 clone. It's a full polymer frame. Makes it a lot lighter than the original. It also allowed them to make some design changes and maybe improve the ergonomics a little bit, or at least tweak the ergonomics a little bit. Whether they've improved them or not would be up to each individual shooter. But the gun does feel good in the hand. It's very comfortable to hold. It's very comfortable to shoot. So I think they did do a good job. I think they tweaked those ergonomics in just the right places. Let's take a look at the specifications on the gun. Again, it's a 9mm. This is the full size with a 4.5-inch barrel. It's also available in a 3.7, I think, maybe 3.8, something along that line. The overall length of this one is 8.2 inches. It's 5.7 inches high, so it's a bit of a tall pistol. It's not really something that I'm going to concealed carry, and there aren't too many people I know that would either. It's about 1.375 inches thick. That's the width at the widest part, and that widest part is actually the takedown pin. Weighs 1.8 pounds, so even though it's a polymer gun, it's got a little bit of weight to it, but it's pretty well balanced. So a couple of takeaways from the range first 100. I like the gun. I think it has a lot of promise. I find the controls to be pretty stiff out of the box on this gun. Mostly the safety. The safety is hard to engage and disengage, especially just using the side or the edge of your thumb. They didn't do much, if anything, to dehorn this lever, so it's a little harsh feeling. It's a little bit of a, I don't want to say a sharp edge, but it's a, it's a 90-degree steel edge, and you feel it. Add to that it's a little hard to work, and that's, it's a little tough on the thumb. So I found myself altering my grip so that I could use it this way. It does feel like even after just 100 rounds and a lot of playing with it on the bench, that's starting to loosen up a little bit. So I hope that part would break in and lighten up. And that's very often the case with something, especially like a safety, that might be a little snug. Slide stop is also similarly non-dehorned and a little bit abrasive, but you don't have to use it that much. It's way out front, so that you're really not going to release the slide too much using the slide stop lever. You're going to usually rack the slide. I found the mag catch and mag release button to be really good. The magazine follower spring doesn't have a whole lot of push, but it's a nice positive ejection with the magazine. Didn't have any kind of issues with that. The magazine fits very flush. The base plate is thin and goes just inside the polymer so that it doesn't protrude on the front or the sides. So I like the way the magazine fits. Unfortunately, you only get one magazine. And then I'm a little confused, I have to admit, because the magazine is stamped 15 rounds on one side where we have a few witness holes, but specifications say capacity is 16 rounds. So I never tried actually to put a 16th round in. Next time I get it out, I will do that. I wish it came with 2 magazines, but of course that would raise the price a little bit, and you can expect street price, at your local gun shop to be right around $300 for this gun. It's actually not a bad looking pistol. Of course, it is a CZ75 clone, so, I think that's a good looking pistol. And if you like the looks of the CZ75, there's nothing here not to like, except maybe, for lack of a better word, what I'll call the signage that's all over it. They have stamped and embossed and rolled and injected all kinds of information on the outside of this gun, both in the slide and the frame. My one complaint, really, at this point, is the trigger. The trigger is a little harsh on my finger, and the reason is, I'll show close-ups of this. The reason is there's no dehorning to the trigger either. It's basically like a flat piece of bar stock that somebody bent into a trigger shape, but they didn't round those front edges at all. So I found it to be a little harsh and abrasive on my finger. I don't know, maybe it'll feel better the next time I shoot it. As far as the trigger action goes and the way it felt, it's a long pull. The double action pull is relatively heavy, probably over 12 pounds, but doesn't feel bad. It's got some grit to it, and there's definitely a lot of pre-travel and a little bit of over-travel. And even on the single action, you've got a lot of pre-travel or take-up. And it's not terribly crisp, but it's a good positive break. That's not so bad. And then there's a little over travel there. Reset I found to be a little bit long. I also noticed a couple of times while I was shooting the gun, the first 100, that it didn't reset. I had to actually push forward on the trigger to get it back to its reset position. So I found that to be interesting. I'll see how that does with subsequent range time. But other than the trigger being a little unpleasant ergonomically to me, and other than having a couple times where it didn't want to reset all the way, I didn't have any kind of malfunctions. It fed everything, it fired everything, it ejected everything. No issues whatsoever. It by first appearances seems like this would be a very durable and a very reliable gun. So if you are on a budget, this wouldn't be a bad choice.